Hello and welcome to Leading. The story of broadcasting in Nigeria would be incomplete without mention of the name of our guest on the program today. He's someone who rose through the ranks of the broadcast career profession, rising from studio manager to presenter, disc jockey, on to managing director of 3 private media organizations, and on to becoming the CEO of one of Nigeria's largest broadcast corporation, Mr. Yanju Adegbite. Thank you so very much for joining us on the program today.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Now, when you were appointed as Chief Executive Officer at the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, the mandate that the governor gave you and your team at that time was to rebrand, restructure, and reposition the organization.
Yes.
At the end of your tenure, are you satisfied that you were able to achieve these 3 tripartite mandates?
Well, perhaps partially satisfied, because the decay was such that you needed more than 2 terms of a governor to be able to properly reform and properly restructure. I don't know how they got there. I was part and parcel of that organization from the scratch. I was a foundation member of staff.
Your pedigree is strong, no doubt about that. And one would expect that when you were appointed, decades later, about 3 decades later, if my memory serves, you would have a good understanding of what the issues were.
Yes.
Was that the case when you got there?
Yeah, it was the case.
How did you go about fulfilling the mandate that you were given, you and your team at the time?
Well, how did BCOS get to this stage? Because we were there before, and we traced it back to 1991 with the
state creation.
Yes, state creation, Oshun coming out of the old Oyo. And we discovered that, and I used to say when I was there, jocularly, that if Ijesa people should leave this station, we will have problems. Because the majority of them were in the management cadre, and they were also the trained staff that we had in that place.
Trained.
So all of them left, about 75% of them, leaving a terrible vacuum. So they needed to fill that vacuum. And that was where the problem started.
You just moved people into those positions.
This one will come with a card from Honorable so from the House, and there we are employed. Whether no audition, no nothing. Because they needed to fill the vacuum urgently. And so that's how they moved a lot of untrained, those who should not even see the 4 walls of a studio. They moved them there. I remember there was one man who said, only because you can't see. He said, which one? It's only in camera. Put him there now. He doesn't know anything about camera. You'll be teaching him.
And that's how he became a cameraman.
And 2 years later, the man became the head of camera unit. And throughout, from that 1991 till we got there, there was no structured training for the staff.
And you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. So the decay started in installments until we got to the stage where, when we got there, we discovered that this was going to be a Herculean task. And that's how we started. From that point, we knew that we needed to reduce the workforce because we had an army of redundant people that we met. Unfortunately, when you have an army of redundant people who also can identify and appreciate the fact that they didn't know anything, it's easier for you. But these were people who thought that they were superstars.
Because they've been around for decades, more than 2 decades.
Exactly. So they've been doing it the way...
and there'll be no complaint from the authorities anyway.
Exactly. And people outside too could not complain, because that was about the best they could get in Ibadan in terms of terrestrial.
Yeah.
So that was actually what we met at that time. So I was not...
And people make an organization.
Yes.
So you identify that as the first thing you needed to address.
Exactly.
The people element.
Yes.
The people variable.
Yes.
What are the other gaps that you observed?
Well, I think that's the major one, actually, because once you get that one right, every other thing will fit into place. But that was the major one.
How would you describe the structure, the system, and the processes that you met on ground?
Well,
how efficient were they?
That was also responsible for the problem. When we were there, if there was no vacancy.
When you were there as a staff?
When I was there as a staff, take, for instance, the news department. and then you can replicate that in other departments. The most senior in the news department was the director of news, who was on level 15.
Yes.
Then we had level 14, we had two managers, manager news, manager current affairs. And then level 13, those are the controllers, 3 of them. When we got there, that level 15, there were 5 of them there. In other words, 5 potential directors.
Yes.
Level 14, there were 17. Level 13, there were
17.
27. That was one department.
So 13 to 15 alone had nearly 40 personnel.
We had like an inverted pyramid. You know, in organization, the structure is a pyramid.
Yes.
But this one was like this, heavy at the top.
Inverted
and
pyramid. So it was top heavy.
Yes. And those who were doing the job were the junior ones from level 10 down. So which meant that those at the top were not adding too much value, but they were the ones taking like about 60-70%
of the resources.
Of the resources. So we knew that was going to be a problem, that eventually, if you wanted to lay a very good structure, you needed to send some people out of the place. If possible, move them to secretariat. Then I did something. I went to Osun State, where they were also running 4 stations or 5 stations like us. They even had 2 television channels. And I discovered that they had about 330, thereabout, workforce. I went to Ogun State, the radio and television, they had about 303. I was battling with 557.
Almost twice.
Almost twice. So that was a big problem. And like they say, too many cooks spoil the broth. Where you have 2 people supposed to work in a place and you have 6, 7 of them, you can never get results. They'll be crossing their paths. And at the end of it all, it affects the production, it affects the total output of the station.
Coming up.
Permit me to use this analogy.
Okay, sir.
If a bungalow collapses, you and I know that you can put it back in a month.
True.
But when a 26-story skyscraper collapses, and you now discover that it is actually the foundation that had issues, when you want to rebuild, you might spend
Your concern also was in the area of the size of the workforce.
That's right.
Which, of course, will impact on
yes,
the running costs,
yes,
as it were.
yes, yes.
But as at the time you were leaving,
yes,
years after,
yes,
are you satisfied that you've been able to take BCOS, the corporation, from that sorry state you met it,
yes,
to a state where you could say, I'm fulfilled?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I was partially satisfied. Not fully satisfied because the structure that will ensure a continuity of what we have done was not there.
Sustainability.
So I knew over time the place would go back to the days of yore. So that did not let me actually be fully satisfied about what we had done.
Okay. Well, you and your team had adequate time. Fortunately for you, your principal, the governor who appointed you, had 2 terms. So you had adequate time to lay a strong structure that could bring about enduring, sustainable progress, as it were. So what went wrong?
When you said we had adequate time, that's relative.
Okay. Because in leadership, time is also important.
Yes, you know, permit me to use this analogy.
Okay, sir.
If a bungalow collapses, you and I know that you can put it back in a month.
True.
But when a 26-story skyscraper collapses, and you now discover that it is actually the foundation that had issues, when you want to rebuild, you might spend like 10 years doing the foundation. While you are doing the foundation, people will be wondering, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
But because for a 26, you needed an amount of solid foundation that will take some time, because as you put one on another, you wait for it to cure before you build again. So it takes a longer time. So I'm talking about a decay of about 20 years and with fundamental issues, which meant that you needed like about 3 terms of a governor to be able to put it right to where
At
it's
the
supposed
very
to
least.
be. It might interest you to know that the minimum I think BCS ever got from capital vote from government was about 400 and something million
Per annum.
in the history. Yeah. We ran BCS, me and my team, from 2011 to 2015,
15.
and then came back again to run for second term. And the governor did not release one kobo from the approved capital budget.
You
by
don't
the House.
say.
Yeah, not a kobo. The only thing they were giving us was a subvention to meet up with salaries. Why? Because they were running like a public service.
Yes.
In other words, you have 4, 5, 6, 700 people that you needed to employ. You didn't have any place for them. Take them to BCOS. BCOS said, I don't need them. Okay, don't worry. We'll be giving you subvention to take care of these people because they are using it to be able to meet.
And that became a tradition.
Exactly.
So you weren't given capital grants, you weren't given budgetary allocation.
No.
In all the 8 years?
Yes. 7 years, 4 months.
It will be difficult to believe this.
Well, for instance, the cameras we had in the studio, forget it. We met only 2 cameras in the studio, and those were low-end cameras.
Very low end.
We went to Lagos. I went to Alaba to go and meet my Igbo guys that I'd known for a long time. And I said, I don't have money. I work for government. Once you say government, they know that your money is safe. So you can easily grant these people some measure of
Credit facility.
So the camera they were selling for $250, they gave it to me for $300 because we were going to pay back in 11 months.
And you were tying their money down anyway.
Exactly. So we came back to Ibadan with 15 cameras. They were wondering. They said, the governor has already given us money. I said, no.
I would think so too.
Yeah. Because, you see...
So you leveraged on your wide array of contacts and
that's
network.
Right. That's right.
To obtain credit.
Yes.
So as to take off.
That's right. 7 o'clock news will have only one film report. For your news to be very robust, you must have at least 6, 7 major film reports.
Yes, that's why it's called audiovisual.
Exactly. But we didn't have the cameras to send out. They had 1.5 cameras, one small one like this that you could put in your
Like
pocket.
a camcorder.
Like a camcorder. And then another one, So we needed cameras. So having assembled the cameras,
which you obtained on credit.
On credit, before I took the credit, I had taken a look at what the finances were, so that I would not go and mortgage my integrity. So I knew that every month I needed to pay X amount. So I told the director of finance that, look, go and create an escrow account. Each time I have 100,000, go and put it there. So at the end of the month, I'm able to pay some amount and we say 11 months, we pay back everything in full in 10 months. So that allowed us to go for more from them. Anyway, where I was going was, I now told the cameramen that we employed more cameramen, that they needed to put on a branded jacket.
Okay.
So when you get to a place, by the way, we changed the logo. The logo we met was could not compete with what broadcast.
Because it wasn't refreshed over time.
No. So we changed the logo. All hell was let loose. As soon as I got that, I posted it to NBC. And then I went to Trade Market. We sent it to CAC. So we registered it so nobody could use it again. That's how we started the brand.
So you took care of the legal angle.
That's right. So when you look at your screen, CNN was just not, you put 2 gongs and the whole thing is so busy. The world had moved away.
So you took care of the look and feel.
Yes. So we changed that. And then we bought the jackets. And I told the news, I said, for the next 3 months, there's nothing like commercial news. Anything, any activity in town, go and cover it for free. So we had, then they didn't have external microphone. It was a microphone attached to the camera. And then you'll be there, the cameraman will be here. Of course, look at that distance. So they were not having clean audio. If you are going to use one now, you must move the camera almost like about 1 foot to your mouth.
And you may not have that latitude.
No.
The public function.
No. So I had to also buy handheld microphones to be able to take the microphone there so that you could get clean audio. So we started having clean audio, And then each time there were so many activities in UI in those days. Why? Because I wanted to draw the academia to the station and the elites to the station. So each time there's an event and you see BCS cameraman with the branded jacket, and you see the microphone also branded, you know, and you see the camera, there's every likelihood that in the evening you want to watch the news.
Everybody wants to see themselves.
Exactly. So all of a sudden...
So you played on the psyche of the average human being.
All of a sudden, 7 o'clock news became very popular. Very, very popular. Everybody was watching it.
Coming up.
When NBC came on an audit, they said we had the largest workforce in Nigeria, and then we had the wage bill was the highest. Four years before we came in, there was not a single, from my investigation, not a single mid-news commercial. Guess what? 30 minutes was the program. At a point, we were having 14 minutes of commercial on 7 o'clock news.
Yeah, because the audience is back.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to the extent that we had to extend the duration from 7 to 7:30 to 7 to 7:45. And that news was tough. And then I increased the rate for that. So money started coming in. That's one way that we used to bring money in.
So you worked on the people, the equipment,
Yes.
the look and feel.
That's right.
And then the content.
That's right.
To get the
Yes.
audience.
Yes. That was a means to the end. It wasn't the end. The end was to generate money.
Yeah.
And you cannot make money if you don't have a very large followership.
Yes. Who are consistently with you.
Exactly. And when they are with you, the agencies in Lagos, advertising agencies, they are looking for which station is popular, and that's why they would drop all their adverts.
Absolutely.
You
That's
know,
how it works.
Exactly. So they didn't even know about BCOS because our reach didn't get to Lagos. But word was getting to the agencies in Lagos that there is one thing at 7 o'clock that has audience in Ibadan. BCOS television. So that one and so many others discovered that all the in-house produced programs nobody was watching them. So
because they were poorly produced.
yeah, exactly. So we removed them. People don't want to know whether you are the one who produced. They want to see good programs. So I went to Lagos and I started getting materials from my friends who are independent producers. You know, some of the productions like Teju Babyface, like Funke Akindele's...
Again, leveraging on your own contact network.
I got all these things from them. They were also looking for outlets.
Of course, to distribute their content.
Exactly. You know,
So it was a win-win for everybody.
God bless you. So if like for instance, what's the name of this soap by Funke Akindele?
Jennifer's Diary.
Jennifer's Diary. We didn't pay her any money. She didn't demand money. But if we got so number of adverts on that program, we shared. And she was also looking for outlets. If she got it, we shared. That was the arrangement.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the evening belt became very popular, of course.
Because you had content every day.
Of course, the IGR.
To engage the viewers.
Exactly. Of course, the IGR that was 11, 12, 13 million per month. Before I left, it had risen to 28. So we could have money to be able to run the station.
Yeah.
Not enough to give government return on investment, which was Ajimobi's mandate to us. That if you have private stations out there who are running, most of them with bank loans, when NBC came on an audit, they said we had the largest workforce in Nigeria, and then we had the biggest wages. The wage bill was the highest in Nigeria.
So it wasn't
So they told us.
sustainable.
No, it wasn't.
Because it will kill the organization.
Yeah, it wasn't. Because
like
where you
building.
needed only one people, there were 3 of them there. And in most times, the 2 others will not be there. So, of course, I had issues, opposition from the unions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of content and the look and feel of the station, the news got to Lagos, to MultiChoice. And they started monitoring us off air.
Yeah.
Then one blessed Monday afternoon, a lady called me from MultiChoice, introduced herself. Said, am I speaking with Ms. Adegbite? I said, yes. Said, good to hear your voice, sir. I used to listen to you when I was in Ibadan, blah, 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 blah. Please, we have an offer for you. I said, what's that? She said, how would you like to have BCOS television on our GoTV bouquet?
Okay.
And I said, that would be exciting.
So they initiated?
They initiated it. I said, that would be exciting. I mean, I said, that would be a dream come true. She said, okay, I'll be getting back to you, sir. Can you send me your email? I did. Then she sent this form, this agreement form, and said they were ready to give us a channel on GoTV.
GoTV.
I was excited. So when are you going to be ready? I said, you have to give me some time because I need to get to government. We needed about 32 million naira or thereabout to be able to buy our uplink equipment because you needed to uplink your signal
to
satellite where they will pick it from and drop it on their control room. I didn't have that kind of money. So I was busy running after the governor that please, and the late governor was a development economist. And I liked that he didn't give us money.
Because that forced you to look inwards.
Exactly. So after
he didn't give you money for the uplink?
Yes. So after about 3 weeks, the lady called again. I said, Mr. Adegbite, I need a yes or no. I'm going to a management meeting now. We are finalizing today. It was at that point that I now said, my sister, let me confess to you. We don't have an uplink equipment. And I run a government-owned station. It doesn't come easy like that. There are processes.
Of course.
Due process and what have you.
Statutory procedures, yeah.
So I cannot, he said, Mr. David, just give me a yes or no. I said, it's a yes, but I cannot say we can start tomorrow. He said, for the first time in our operations, we are the ones coming to install our uplink equipment in your master control room. You are not spending a kobo. But anytime you say you don't want to be with us anymore, we'll come and remove ours. I said, what? I said, you have my yes times 1 million. So she said, okay, that's all I need. Saturday, the following Saturday, I also was producing a program, Saturday Special. I was producing 2 programs as the head of the place. So I was there in the studio, and there was this phone number that kept on coming and coming. I didn't know it was not registered on my phone, so I didn't pick it. So this lady did now call me and said, our engineers are already in Ibadan. They are somewhere in the Iwo Road. They don't know where your station is. I said, is this the man that was? He said, yes. I said, I will call him back. So I called the chap. And I said, stay where you are. I called my driver. Go and meet. A car is coming now. Go and bring these people to the studio. And so they started the installation that day. By Tuesday, we were on GoTV.
You were on GoTV without paying a kobo.
Without paying a kobo. And we've been there ever since.
And GoTV is a big deal because it's going to afford you the opportunity of distributing your content to a wider audience.
Yes.
On a wider geographical location and all those things. Now, the important thing is the people element as you've identified.
Yes.
How did you go about addressing mindset issues? Because especially if people's paradigm have been formed, how did you go about that?
It was tough.
Was it easy peasy?
It was tough, but thank God I had...
Expectedly.
Yes, I had colleagues. If I was the only one, it couldn't have been possible. Because I had a team that we understood, we spoke the same language. We also understood the same language. We knew where we were coming from. We were all professionals who had been there before, who know what needs to be done.
Yes. Because
majority of them, there were conflicts. When you say you can't do it like this, no, that's how we've been doing it.
Human nature.
And that's the reason why you've been getting the result. That's the reason why
people are not change to get a new result.
So they used the union. They wrote petitions upon petitions against me. I must give kudos to the governor. He gave me all the backing. You couldn't go to in some other climb. They would have gone to the governor and go and politicize it. They actually tried, but the governor will say the man I put there is a professional. His team, they are all professionals. They know what they are doing. So we had that backing.
So he gave you that protection.
It gave us absolute protection. That's why we could do all we needed to do to be able to get the results. Some of them eventually they now started to understand gradually, but it was very slow.
When they started seeing results.
When I was leaving, some people, we still had a number of cynics that we live there.
Naturally, that's human nature. Besides mindset challenges, paradigm issues, what were the other challenges that you had to contend with? Okay.
Indiscipline. Gross indiscipline. The TV was supposed to start at 7. As at 10 after 7, they have not even opened the studio.
That's where you met.
That's what we met. So I said, this is going to be tough. So I read the Riot Act. The following morning, I was there 6:30. They had not opened the studio.
You were there physically 6:30.
I would close at 11 p.m.
So you were leading by example.
Yeah, at 6:30 in the morning, I would not sleep for more than 5 hours. I was back there. I would go back later, go and have my bath and have my breakfast. But that's opening. So the first person that came about 5 after 7 to open the studio. And you still needed time to calibrate the cameras and what have you. So all of them like that, I sent them on indefinite suspension. Oh, it was like
because it probably has never happened.
All hell was let loose.
Indefinite suspension.
Yeah. And then they were saying, how is he going to do it? I'm a technical man. I know about the cameras, and I knew that there are some equipment that will take away all the army of redundant people you have in the studio, like about 20 something of them, which will reduce eventually to about 6 or 7.
If you leverage on technology correctly.
Exactly. Even at that time, when technology was not what we have it now. So they were wondering how we were going to do it. So the following morning, I was the one who went to take the keys, open the studio, selected 2 or 3 cameramen who were very, very vibrant and who were positive looking. And I said, we are going to open the studio. And so we started. So they discovered that we were doing it. By the time they resumed after suspension, they had to beat themselves to line. That's how we were able to deal with indiscipline. But indiscipline, not only in that place, discipline abounds everywhere.
Yeah.
Up till the moment we are talking right now.
Yes.
So, but you need to manage it. Because I knew that to be suspending everybody, I will have issues.